Hi, this is Laura Whitmore with the She Rocks podcast, and I'm here chatting with Nikki O'Neill. How are you, Nikki?
It's good to be on the podcast. I'm doing great.
Awesome. I understand you're in Southern California. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
LA. Okay. I heard it's pretty warm there right now.
Yeah, it's sunny and beautiful.
You know, I'm in Cape Cod, and it's cloudy and rainy and cold.
Oh, it's the East Coast, but I think it's so cool. I lived in New York for several years, so
yeah.
But I never got to venture further up north. That'd be really cool to do.
You should come out to Cape Cod. There's some good music that happens here in the summer too. Maybe not this year, but every other year.
Yeah, exactly. Nowhere this year.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. You have a great guitar vibe to you. Can you share a little bit about your background with guitar and how you kind of got into the space you're in now?
Oh, wow.
It's a long story, probably.
That's a big that's a big question.
You can break it down for me.
do I start with like when I started playing?
You'd be like, I was born on... No.
I could try to sum it up. I basically wanted to play guitar at age 10. Saw all the guys in school. They were into guitars and they were discussing records. And I thought, that is really fun. That's fun stuff. I want to be a part of that. But I had to wait till I was 16. So I was, begging and pleading for a guitar. And then when I got it at age 16, I pretty much locked myself up in my room. And my mom didn't see me for the next year. And
maybe that's why she didn't want to get it for you. She sensed.
Maybe I got obsessed, and I lived. So I'm born in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Sweden. My mom remarried a Swedish guy, and just to make things more confusing, she was from Poland. So we were this trilingual household.
Wow.
And living in Stockholm, Sweden, and nobody played instruments in the family. I know my mom wanted to be a singer at one point, and my grandmother had wanted to play guitar as a teen, but they were, Eastern European, and with that history, with the World Wars and Russian Revolution and things like that, they just couldn't take lessons.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that kind of stuff that got in the way. So I was the first one to learn an instrument, as far as I know.
Wow.
In the family, and but they played a lot of records, so there was just a wide variety of music being played, everything from Al Green and Stevie Wonder to Dinah Washington and Polish cabaret songs from the 30s and 60s and Chopin, and it was just everything. And I think that diversity probably shaped me in my interest in writing songs, because I was now I know I am kind of starting very much at the beginning
that's
of
great.
Things, but
because I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know about you, so it's good to hear that.
No, so it was like it's very, very eclectic music. I was really into writing songs, and then when I got that guitar at age 16, there was the nice thing about growing up in Sweden was there was subsidized music education. So you could take guitar lessons and pay very, very little for it.
We need that here.
Yeah, definitely.
We need a lot of things here, but
and
subsidized
I know
guitar lessons would be awesome.
I know. That was a really cool thing. And I know that a lot of people have talked about the amount of successful pop songwriters that have come out of Sweden, like Max Martin and those guys, and a lot of rock bands, and they usually say that the reason for that success is probably that a lot of Swedish kids got that free music education.
How interesting.
But so that's what I did. I started playing classical guitar, but I was really into rock. And then I got into a high school of music that was kind of like a pre-college. So there's like 17 hours of music per week. And that's how I got.
That's cool.
the foundation. But it was like really heavily into jazz. And I wasn't a big jazz head at the time, but I loved R&B music. And so there was a lot of, just all those cool, colorful chords and things like that I got to learn through the jazz studies. So it was a great foundation. And then I just kept on playing.
Was there a good live music scene in Sweden too?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I grew up in the capital in Stockholm, so I mean, it's not like Austin or something with tons of places to play, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. So did you do that like when you were a teen?
I did it a little bit. I think as a teen, I had a lot of insecurities, and it took a while before I found my footing and my identity, what kind of music I like to play, or if I, considered myself being an artist at all. I had a lot of doubts about that. When I was at this school, there was a lot of people who they had parents who were professional musicians, and so their path was already like given. It's like, you're going to be a trombone player and enter the symphony orchestra because that's what
business.
Dad does. So that was very different for me because I didn't have that background, and it took me many years until I became a guitar teacher myself and saw my students and what role music played in their lives at home. I realized that, wow, even if my mom didn't play an instrument, there was still that great love for music, and it was constantly being played, and this great diversity of music was actually, that was a really important thing. And but there were many things, back when I was younger that made me, I was comparing myself to others and thinking, oh, I'm not an artist compared to these people. And so it just, took a few years to sort that out. And
I'm assuming you started on an acoustic instrument. So when did you make the move to electric?
To electric? Yeah. Pretty quickly, actually. I did it after a year or so. I earned, had some jobs and earned the money to buy an electric, and walked into a secondhand music store in Stockholm. And I was a big Santana fan at the time, which is kind of a little unusual because there weren't a lot of 17-year-olds who were into Santana.
Right.
But yeah, I was a big fan of Santana and Prince. And I picked my guitar. Basically, it's like, okay, how good does Samba Pati sound like on this guitar? That's my criteria for, I didn't know anything about pickups or gear or anything.
A lot of it is about the feel too. How does it feel?
It is. And I luckily, I must have had some good instinct, because when I bought the guitar, all my classmates were just constantly at me. They wanted to buy it from me.
Oh my gosh. What did you get?
So, I got an Ibanez Custom Agent. So these were the Ibanez Les Paul copies that came out, where they did such a good job that Gibson sued them. Oh. And they did this limited edition.
Wow.
And the one that I had, it was a sunburst, and it had a ton of mother of pearl inlays and this fancy Florentine neck that kind of looks like a mandolin, or mandolin headstock. Yeah, very trippy looking, something Jerry Garcia would have played.
Right.
And it's a bummer I don't have it anymore. I see them on eBay, and they're pretty expensive now.
But it is interesting, how your instrument inspires you, right? So you picked out something that inspired you to want to play it a lot, which is the idea.
I've had several moments like that. I remember many years later, I moved to New York City, and I had the hardest time finding an acoustic guitar that could fit me. And in New York, there's this fantastic guitar shop on Staten Island. I forget the name of it, but it's legendary. It's a big house, and you walk in, and there's Collings guitars, and there's greatest, instruments. And I remember I just couldn't find anything because my hands are pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing that was really comfortable to play. And then one day I walked past a guitar shop on Bleecker Street, and this guitar was like, the door was open to the store, and the guitar was right at the front, and it was just calling to me. And it was the perfect one. Yeah, it was like, you are going to be mine.
Yeah.
And and that's the acoustic that I've played ever since.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
It's fun when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've owned a few guitars over the years, and there's definitely certain ones that they don't have to be expensive either. It's just something about them, you know?
Yeah. The thing is that I've never been a big collector. I know people who go through eBay and they just get rid of their guitars and buy new ones. And I've never been like that. I have a few, and I've held on to most of them. So,
yeah.
But everybody's different. Yeah.
It's okay. Like, there's some people who are crazy about gear and are all over that, but I'm not one of those people either. I keep everything. So it's got to be a reason.
Yeah. I might switch out pickups and things like that, but otherwise, pretty loyal to it.
Yeah. So you have some new music coming out, right? It's not out yet, right? It's coming out this summer, or what's the status?
Yeah, it's so everything's recorded and it's currently being mixed. It's a full-length album. It's called World is Waiting, and it's my second solo album. And it's a mix of, I guess I describe my music as soul-influenced Americana. So I have always loved rhythm and blues. So it's a mix of rhythm and blues. There's one gospel song there. There's a couple of Americana songs. There's a blues there, and I'm really excited. And I'm hoping that it'll come out in August. It's been delayed, so I wanted to find the right mixing person, and now I found. He's amazing, but he's got a bit of a family emergency, so things have been delayed, and he had to fly out to his parents. But he's the songs that have been mixed, they sound fantastic, and he worked on Mavis Staples' latest album, and Ben Harper. So
he's got the right ears for you then.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, you can't underestimate the importance of the people you're working with having the right ears, producer, mixer, master.
Absolutely. And and I think I always, I think of my earlier experiences, when you're making records, you spend a lot of money and let's see, there's a beep in the phone. Are you still there?
I'm still there.
Okay. All right. Sorry,
somebody texted me. It's hard to shut everything off in these work from home scenario.
Oh, no worries. It sounded like a kazoo. So,
it was my phone vibrating.
Yeah. No, I think so. When you make records, you're always like, you want to do the best you can. You think this is my best material and it deserves the best treatment, and you maybe spend a lot of money, but making records is a learning experience. And then you go back and you listen to something, you're like, oh wow, well that mix maybe wasn't so good.
Yeah.
Or the songs, well, I've become better at writing songs, or I'm a better lyricist or a better singer. So it's always a learning process. But
you just hope that when you look back 10 years from now, you're like, okay, I learned some things, but I still like that.
Yeah. There's definitely always a lot to learn. It's just sometimes maybe it was like too much money was spent. The price tag for that was a little big, but it's okay. I also think that as you evolve, you draw to you different kinds of players and collaborators. And so whoever I'm working with on this album, I probably wouldn't have met them 3 albums ago.
Right.
So,
well, let's talk a little bit about who you were working with. For one, I saw that you were in Memphis with Boo Mitchell, which is really cool.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. So, I've, like I grew up with Al Green records since I was, I don't know, probably 5 years old. So I always loved the sound of them and the guitar playing, his singing, yeah, just the songs and the arrangements, everything it has really formed my aesthetic, my musical aesthetic, I guess you could say. And so it's always been a dream for me to record something at Royal Studios. And I got the opportunity to play at Americana Fest last year. And when I found out that I got that gig, then I thought, well, geez, Nashville, Memphis, they're not too far apart. We got to, book something at Royal.
That happen.
Yeah, this is like bucket list. It's the dream. So I contacted him and booked a date. And I wasn't able to bring a band. So the song that I recorded, it was an acoustic, just me, vocal and acoustic guitar. So it was really sparse. So I didn't do anything with any like former members of Al Green's band or anything. But it was a very cool day. It was a Sunday and it was really hot. And my husband plays drums with me in my band. So we went together and we went to Al Green's church, the Full Gospel Tabernacle, and he was preaching. It was his Sunday service.
Wow.
So we checked that out, and he was going on for quite some time, like 2.5 hours. And I knew that his sermons could take a long time. And I was texting Boo, and I said, Boo, I'm still in the church. And he's like, it's cool. Just get here when you get here. And Al Green had played in L.A. in May, actually exactly a year ago. It was like May 9th. He played at the Greek Theater. And the band was just killer. And there was a guitar player in the band that really jumped out. And I found out who he was. And we contacted each other, social media. And then I actually ended up having a guitar lesson with him over Skype. And he was like showing me Al Green songs and like his ideas for the solo that he had done at the Greek. It was really awesome. And he said, well, hey, when he learned that I was going to go to Memphis, so you got to meet a buddy of mine who plays organ in Al Green's church. So we're at Al Green's church. The service is going on, and then it's done. It was amazing, kick-ass band, and beautiful experience. And I introduced myself to the organ player, and I tell him that I'm in a bit of a rush. I got to get to Royal, and he said, "Oh, I'll give you a ride." So we jumped into his car. And he took us to Royal, and we were a little bit early, and Boo Mitchell shows up. He's a little flustered. So he's like, I just got to open the studio.
Right.
And so he opens the door, and we walk in to the building, and it's pitch black. And he turns on one light at a time. He's like, just follow me. So we're walking through these tight hallways, and he turns on one light, and then boom, there's like the gold records, Al Green. and it's a time capsule. Nothing has changed there since 1973. There's like wooden panels and shag carpets in like fire colors, yellow, orange, and red on the wall. And he turns on another light. Boom, there's like the famous studio space. And it's like, oh my God, that's Al Jackson Jr.'s drum kit. That's Teeny Hodges' guitar amp. My guitar hero, his amp is right there.
Yeah.
And all the master tapes and stuff. And then Boo starts pulling out the mics. And then it dawns upon me, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? So I just realized the history. There's Ann Peebles recorded there. And all these people, and Keith Richards, and
that's awesome. Well, now you're part of the history. You're part of it.
I guess. And I had this little dialogue with myself where I was like, no, this is not the time to chicken out. You're here.
No, you can't chicken
and just,
out.
Be present. And I pulled myself together. And I think that edge and that slight nervousness actually brought some life.
I'd love to hear more about sort of your approach to the album and, you know, your writing of it and what your sort of perspective was in creating it.
Yeah, so I was fortunate. I had a band, and there was a really good chemistry, great creative chemistry, and so I wanted to capture that on tape. And so especially also with this kind of more rootsy style of music, I felt like the best way to record this is to have everybody in one room playing together, as opposed to doing a lot of layering, which I had done on my previous record. Then, you know, it was just me and my co-producer, who's a multi-instrumentalist, and then my husband playing drums. This has a lot more people involved. So I had a five-piece band, and a number of guest artists. So I have Amanda Mosher on backing vocals. I have 3 members from a band called Jerry's Middle Finger, which are popular here on the West Coast. They're more like on the jam band scene.
I like that name.
Yeah, it's great. If you're going to have a tribute to Jerry Garcia, that's perfect.
That's it.
Yeah, but they're just such powerhouse singers. These 2 women, Helena Janisch and Lisa Malzberger. So that was amazing. And then Amanda Mosher, she's a really respected Americana kind of alt country artist here in LA. And yeah, so we recorded everything in one room with just a few overdubs, me doing lead vocals and a couple of other things. And yeah, it's rhythm and blues and gospel. There's one like pure gospel tune. There's one track that's a little bluesier, and then there's some more Americana kind of twangy tracks, and it kind of goes from a big kind of soul up-tempo number through, and then it kind of it finishes with that song at Royal Studios.
Oh,
where
cool.
You go from big instrumentation to just me with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, very intimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to hear it. I love what I've heard from you so far, so I'm sure it's going to be
thank you.
Really inspiring to listen to. And
thank you.
Yeah. I'm really glad to meet you too. I've, heard your name and seen your name pop up here and there, and
likewise. I mean, I know you do a lot of great things for the female music community, and
we're always trying to make stuff happen, right? It's a little challenging right now, but we're still trying.
Yeah. We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So have you been doing some online performing?
I've done it twice through Guitar Girl magazine. I wrote an article for them about the Southern California Americana scene, because there's been an unusual amount of women that have really been in charge, doing everything from very cool showcases to poster art to being publicists. And so I thought, this would be a great, story. And then once the story was out, Tara Lowe, who's the editor for Guitar Girl, said, do you think that these artists would be interested in doing a show, like, Facebook Live show? And so, yeah, absolutely. That took like 2 seconds to hear from everybody. And we're a pretty tight-knit community in LA, so everybody's friends with each other or go to each other's shows. It's actually really nice. It's a very supportive artist
super
community.
Supportive. Yeah.
Which is tough sometimes in LA, because there's a lot of times people try to start a community up and it doesn't work, or venues close, and
plus you have a lot of competition for attention. There's a lot going on.
There is. So but this is it's just a very supportive community, so everybody wanted to jump on the opportunity to play a show, and we did this as a fundraiser for a charity called Masks for Docs. So they do they basically try to get medical equipment
That's awesome.
to health staff, and we raised $3,500, and we had like almost 3,000 viewers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is like
Incredible.
way, way more than what we expected. So
Right.
that was really cool.
That's really cool. Well, thanks so much for checking in. Like I said, looking forward to hearing your music. How can people find out more about you? Where should they go?
Well, my website is nikkioneil.com. That's NIKKIONEILL.com, and all my social media is there. And also, if you're interested in learning guitar more, I have a
Ooh,
channel on True Fire that's called Twang, Soul, and Rock and Roll.
cool.
And that one caters to intermediate and beginning players who are into Americana, rhythm and blues, and soul. But there's also some rock stuff that I got there. But it's kind of all in under that rootsy, twangy umbrella. And yeah, and then I have my book that's out, Women's Road to Rock Guitar, which I think the print edition might be gone, but the ebook version is on iBooks.
Okay,
So, but yeah, if you
cool.
go to my website, nikkioneil.com, then
You'll find it
everything
all.
is
There
there.
you
That's
go.
the hub. Yeah. And hopefully the album will be out in August. I'm looking at the album cover. The designer just sent it to me. That's done.
Until then, the world will have to be waiting for it
They'll
to.
have to be waiting. One thing I have to say, so the title, I just, because it might sound like some egotistical kind of move, world is waiting for me. It has nothing to do with that. It's a response to a song that I did on my previous album called Love Will Lead You Home. And it was basically a commentary on the rise of the racist and nationalist movements that are happening in the last several years in the U.S. and in Europe. So me and my lyric partner had written a song about that, and "World Is Waiting" is basically a sister song to that one.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
yes, it's not about me.
It's about something
But
much
yeah.
bigger.
It's something bigger than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, but yeah, it's, I'm fingers crossed that everything with the mixing engineer and his family situation, that'll work out, that we get all the songs mixed in
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And then it should be out
It's
in
going to
August.
happen. I can feel it. It's going to be okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because all the other components are ready.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
Awesome. Well, really good to talk to you. And
Likewise.
thanks. Keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Okay.
for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.